Alright, today we got a pretty unusual gun. Not super rare, not super common. You might see it in a video game. This is the Ruger MP-9. This one was donated to the video cause by Ultra Firearms, so thanks, Paul. You can find them at hashtag politically incorrect, capital A, capital F. The Ruger came out in the late 80s, early 90s. The idea was, actually I have no idea what the idea was, because the machine gun ban of 86 did away with private sales for individuals, and the theory, I guess this was for law enforcement, but take into account that back in the late 80s, early 90s, the market was flooded with Uzis and MP-5s. Both of which I believe personally are better than this gun. Alright, a little backstory. This gun was supposedly designed by the inventor of the Uzi with Ruger to be an improvement over the Uzi. And as you can see, it's really not the size of an Uzi. It's actually more the size of a mini Uzi. So we're going to compare it to the mini Uzi. However, in reality, it's not very much like the mini Uzi internally or magazine wise or the way it comes apart or anything else. It's more like a Steyr MP-9, and later in the video I'll show you why I think it's more like a Steyr. But unlike both the Uzi and the Steyr, this weapon fires from a closed bolt, not an open bolt. One of the things they did to make it more compact, this is the buttstock right here. To get the buttstock out, you unfold it, it comes to that angle. To extend it, there's a little clip in here and it extends out. So that's the gun with the buttstock extended. Not exactly the best buttstock design in my opinion. The other thing they did, I have no idea why this is here, but the other thing they did, the lower is polymer. There's, as you can see, there's no horizontal hand grip. They put a slices, notches, grooves, whatever you want to call it, so you shoot this gun like this, almost like a P90. The problem is, if you can see on my fingers, there's nothing supporting my lower two fingers. It's a complete near miss. The other thing that's unusual about this gun, and then when we do some close-ups you'll see it even better, when you cock the gun to load it, it locks open like an open bolt. But it's really not an open bolt. You insert the loaded magazine and then you get the top of the cocking handle down and it closes the bolt so you can fire the gun. It's really a stupid design. We're going to stop this long distance stuff and we'll do some close-ups of the gun and why I show you that it's more like a Steyr than a Uzi, and we'll go from there. As I said earlier in the video, I wanted to explain that I believe that the Ruger was based more on the Steyr than the Uzi. This is the Ruger MP-9 mag. It's actually got the blue stripe on it from the gun shop. If you look at this, this may be familiar to some of you who have some machine gun experience. This is the Ruger mag, right? This is a Steyr MP-9 mag. The only difference is they took a factory Steyr mag and on here, and we'll try to zoom in to see if you can see it, is they cut this part of the lip back a tiny bit. That's the only difference. I've run this Steyr mag in this Ruger and it seems to run fine. But I'm sure they cut this out for a reason, so I would not recommend using these if you have access to these, but should you be lucky enough to have one of these as a post sample and you can't find any factory Ruger mags, which there are none, Steyr MPI-80 mag, MPI-81 mag is what they started with. So obviously this is why I believe the gun is based on a Steyr design and not an Uzi design. MPI-81 Ruger. I'm going to show you why I believe this came mostly from this. First of all, already shows you the magazines. The magazines for this are the magazines from this with an additional cut. I don't even think Ruger went out and had additional magazines made. I think they simply bought Steyr magazines and converted them. Barrel nut on this. Both of these, just like an Uzi, have an unscrewable barrel. The barrel nut on an Uzi, on a Steyr, has the sling swivel in it. Uzi, the sling swivel's up here. On the Ruger, here's the sling swivel on the barrel nut, just like here. Polymer. I will take them apart, and unlike an Uzi, where the top cover comes out off the top and you lift everything out the top, on the Steyr, everything goes out the back. On the Ruger, everything goes out the back. So what I'll do here in a few minutes is I will field strip the Ruger on film for you, and I will have the Steyr already taken apart so you can see. I'll compare the parts as I go. Alright, I'm going to field strip it for you real quick. I'm going to see if my assistant here can zoom in on this and you can actually see where it's marked Ruger MP-9. How to take this gun apart? It's actually pretty simple. First, to take the barrel nut off, there's a little pin here. This is like an Uzi, except you unscrew the barrel nut. Now what's cool about this, or uncool, is the barrel nut is held captive by this little O-ring. I guess in theory, if there were actually spare parts available for this, if you needed the new barrel, you could just pop that O-ring off. But this way, when you're in the field, you're not going to lose it. Here's the barrel for the MPI-81. This barrel nut's not captive, but on the other hand, it's attached to the spring, so you're not going to lose it either. On the Ruger, right here is a takedown pin. You push it in like almost like an M16 pin and pull forward, pull the side, I'm sorry. And then the whole gun, the upper, if I got it all the way out, now see, this is the disadvantage of not having a manual. Lift up and then you slide forward. The front is notched to fit in here. Now, like the Steyr, where I took this all out the back, on the Ruger it comes out the back, not like an Uzi, which would come out the top. This doesn't actually come off. The only difference between this and this is this isn't captive. This will come out like an Uzi. So here's your recoil spring assembly, your bolt assembly. If you look at this bolt, can you zoom in a little bit? If you look at this bolt, you'll see there's an exposed firing pin in the back for firing the gun. It does not use a striker system like a closed bolt Uzi. And then we'll come over here and we'll look at this. If you see here, here's your hammer. Alright, bolt closes, disconnector goes down, hammer goes forward, fires the weapon. So in all, when you get down to it, this is an over-designed, poorly thought out flop of a submachine gun. It's kind of cool to play with, but it's just, you want a closed bolt hammer fired gun, HK MP-9 better gun. You want a small submachine gun that's utterly reliable with less moving parts, buy an Uzi. And one other thing about this is I noticed when I was taking it apart to learn about it, I don't know, can you zoom in on this piece right where my finger is? This is the ejector. If you can see, the ejector's attached to right to the receiver. It's almost like a bent over piece of metal that's not, and then they put a little weld in there to reinforce it. That's a terrible design. In real life, if you were shooting, say, steel cased ammo in tens of thousands of rounds and you burred this ejector or you bent it, you'd have to actually weld on the receiver of the gun to rebuild the gun, whereas on an Uzi you would just pop the rivet out, put a new ejector in. On an MP-9 you just change the ejector and the trigger pack. That is an absolutely terrible idea. And the pulling the slide back or the cocking handle back and having it lock in the up position, and we'll get a close-up of that when I put the gun back together, is stupid. I mean, I do not understand this gun at all. I don't understand why they built it, but I can tell you that Bill Ruger was so unhappy with it when he found out about the project, he ordered any spares and guns in his house to be destroyed. So the ones that got out before Bill Ruger found out about the project are out there. The other ones are not. So that's why this gun is so rare. Ruger actively tried to destroy this gun from being out in the market. And although it's not a great gun, it's still a piece of American history for firearms development, and it should have never been destroyed. Probably should have never been built, but it should have never been destroyed. Now, I'll put this barrel in. Yep. Okay, it's back together. Now, I'm going to have my cameraman zoom in right on this area right here. When I cock the gun, you'll see that this actuator plate, cocking plate, whatever, it'll go back and it'll go up just a hair. And that locks the gun open to insert a magazine. As you can see, there's now a gap here. And then to load it, I have no idea why they did that. That is beyond stupid, but I'm not an engineer. Maybe there's an engineering purpose for it that I'm unaware of. One of the other idiosyncrasies of this, I don't know if you can see it, it has the tiniest little pieces of rail on the top, here and here. I don't know if their idea was to put a mount over the handle for a red dot or whatever, but there's not enough here on the back of the gun to mount any kind of optic. So we'll shoot it for you, but I wanted to try to give you an in-depth view of a gun that you don't see very often. Most of the videos on YouTube are just people shooting it into the ground or whatever, and let you know what a really mediocre design it was. Shooting parts next. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Ultra Firearms for letting me use it. And we'll talk to you soon. Alright, today we're going to shoot the MP-9 like we talked about yesterday. We're just going to shoot a few semi and a few bursts, and then maybe I'll do a magnum. Got a little steel down in the back. That's our target for today in my backyard. So let's give it a whirl. Put our ears on here. Oh, you missed the exciting part, so I'll close it. The bolt goes open, stays open, tilts up. Insert your magazine. Gun is on semi, and we'll give it a whirl. See if you can hear any tings. And I hate that top cover. Well, on semi, it's what it aims at. Kind of a long take up on the trigger. I don't really see the advantage to this over an Uzi, but as I said before, I'm not an engineer. If you'll notice, we're empty. Last round didn't lock it open. Terrible idea. If you're going to go through all this trouble and make it lock open to shoot, you should at least have it lock open on the last round. Now we'll do a mag dump. Well, it was all over the place. Couldn't see crap. As I said earlier in the video, this is a 100% mediocre submachine gun. Thanks for watching. We'll just try to keep bringing you some unusual guns as we go. Later.